thanks very much for the opportunity to share some of our journey as well. I know the journey's been used quite well today, but we very much have been on a journey. For the last 4 years, I came into post, and when I was listening to Robin, first of all, he was covering some areas, I'm like, I've got that in my slide. And I hadn't seen anything, and it was just like, but it was to put that kind of local kind of context, because what we're achieving does not come without its challenges. Appreciate that we're very much in this room together because we're here for a kind of common purpose. But there's a lot of people that don't quite get it. So I'm conscious we've got a 15-minute slot, which is really good. So what I was going to touch on, first of all, was just to provide an overview in terms of not just about the SMART model, about just the recovery model within North Ayrshire. And then I'll pass to my colleague Cheryl, who will go into more detail in terms of what the model we have in North Ayrshire. Can also just express my appreciation for Amanda's really touching and powerful kind of input earlier on. Very much appreciated and really kind of brave to stand up here, because it is quite daunting when you look across here like there's quite a few heads. So what we currently have, and I'm not going to bore with kind of strategy stuff and what have you, but our kind of strategy within the Alcohol and Drug Partnership is just short, to the point. It's about preventing harm and promoting recovery. And you'll recognise the SMART model fits into that. And when talking about the preventing harm, I'm not talking about harm reduction. We're talking about trying to educate people, whether that be school kids or wider communities. And the best way to do that is actually through utilising the peers that we've got at our disposal, that talk about the power of recovery and the peer support, etc. And we'll come on to kind of more of that. Within our 3-year strategy, we've got 4 key priorities, and we've got guiding principles. And one of the kind of guiding principles that I just wanted to highlight was about empowering people in recovery and those important to them. And it's about identifying and reducing inequalities. Because I think we need to recognise about the whole kind of equality arena. And I was glad that Trish put up the kind of map there of Scotland, because of those of you that are not kind of familiar with the geography, North Ayrshire is on the west coast of Scotland. It's only about 20 odd miles from Glasgow. But it's not Glasgow, it's not Edinburgh, it's very rural. There's a number of very can feel like isolated communities. There is, we've got islands as well. So we've got kind of populations that we still need to try and tap into. So going back to the kind of journey that we are currently on, about 3 years ago, we started to have focus groups, have stakeholder events, and we quickly managed to engage with a number of people in recovery. And Robin was talking earlier on about recovery definitions and what that means, and it's different for every one of us. But what the group, and what I'm really delighted to say is we've got a group of people, Recovery at Work. It's a constituted community group now. But the early days, they basically told us that's what recovery means to them as a group. Now, they might have some different ideas, but they were happy. This was the consensus that that's what they were very much all about. And what I've highlighted is about the power of giving something back to the community, to the family, and to themselves. And by God, they've done that in abundance. And true to their word to this day. And as I say, Cheryl will go on to talk about the kind of SMART model, but as I say, I just want to take the opportunity to highlight that recovery activities taking place across North Ayrshire. We've got recovery cafes taking place. We have got people helping us in terms of evaluating services. We have got peer researchers, and it's all very powerful stuff. We've actually got quite a busy week this week. Not only down here today, but tomorrow we've got the launch of Funky Films. So a group of people in recovery over 10 weeks have captured real hard-hitting, recovery stories, and we're basically presenting that tomorrow to 70 odd people, and these are a lot of people that we want to educate that recovery is actually real and it's happening within our own locality, but we need people to buy into it. Some people still see it as like something over there, so we've still got kind of work ahead of us. But I think what's been really good is the recovery at work I spoke about, they sit within the ADP structures. They have got quite a powerful voice, and it's quite interesting when you see kind of a lot of senior managers who have been in the field for some time get rather fidgety when we've got people in recovery that just say it how it is. No airs or graces, I love it. I mean, but people are quite fidgety, but that's what it's all about, because up until not long ago, it was that kind of passive recipient, kind of experts in the field. They know best for what you want for your own life. But it's like just creating that. I mean, SMART is just one choice, and I appreciate that there's other kind of different approaches that's coming out today. But it's about choices and people having voices, and that's really kind of what we're all about. Quickly move on. So we were delighted as an ADP. We went into partnership with kind of SMART UK back in April 14. So I'm delighted that we're now in the third year of that partnership, and we continue to grow. The initial meetings that we had 5 staff members, we had 5 peers. Again, Cheryl will touch on exactly kind of where we're at just now. And we rolled out our first meeting in October 2014. And it's not been without its challenges. The service buy-in, and when I talk about services, I'm talking about the mainstream statutory providers, whether it be local authority, whether it be health boards. We still are fighting and having challenges in terms of people trying to accept that there's alternative ways to recovery. It's not just about people coming through the kind of treatment provider doors. So it's been a hard graft. When Trish put the picture up of Jardine there, I recall meeting with Jardine just a few months after I started, and that was like kind of late 2012. 6-7 months later, Jardine's like, what's going on? I'm like, well, very little, because I'm just not getting people to kind of buy into this. But we chipped away, and we eventually got people to sign the dotted line to say, yeah, we'll sign up to this partnership agreement. And we've not looked back since then. And I just before I hand over to Cheryl, there's been comments about the whole kind of the policy and the strategies, whether it's going back to 2008 in terms of the recovery policy. But as a kind of Scottish government, they're not helping our agenda. And I don't want to be overly critical, but it's more about number crunching. It's about how many brief interventions can we deliver, how many waiting times can we meet, how many naloxone kits can we give out. We're not looking at the actual evaluation in terms of the quality of, it's that kind of quantity over quality, and I want the government to be moving more in regards to that kind of quality. So I'm conscious of time. I'm going to pass over to Cheryl to hopefully make better sense of that. Okay.
What we kind of looked at in the initial model was setting up the SMART meetings and having them jointly facilitated for 12 weeks, so having a peer and a member of staff doing that for the 12-week periods. And that kicked off 2 years come October. We had our first meeting, and it's a model which has worked quite well. It's very much adaptable, because sometimes, 4 or 5 weeks into the meeting, the staff members are getting told right away we can manage this ourselves and it's absolutely fine. Other times people are needing that bit of support a wee bit longer, and we're able to be a bit more adaptive around increasing that support. But the progression has been on to peer-led meetings, and that is very much our vision in North Ayrshire, to have the majority of the meetings as much as we can peer-led. So yeah, it's been very much a partnership approach. For me, the partnership word in the ADP is just the key word, because we work together, and it should be very much around that. And the peer facilitators and recovery at work are very much part of that partnership with ourselves. The staff and peer model's really been mutually beneficial. It's been benefited the peer facilitators, but it's also benefited the staff. I think it has started to break down some of those stigmas that Mark was kind of talking about, and some of those resistances at the beginning. And it's something that it's very much ongoing. We had recent training with Trish just a fortnight ago, I think that was, where, yeah, you were down. And we again had training where we had, kind of like half the group were people in recovery and half the group were staff members. And just seeing that interaction is just great, and it's been something that's been really positive. We recognised that we needed some sort of kind of support. We didn't want to kind of train people up as facilitators and off you go into your meetings. As Mark said, North Ayrshire is a very rural area, and we're quite kind of spread out, so a lot of the meetings are happening in small kind of pockets, and we didn't want to just kind of leave people to it. So we have quite regular facilitator meetings, and that's for anybody who's trained in SMART, come along, and it's almost a supervision type kind of structure where we can talk around how the meetings are going, any issues and anything that we can maybe do to kind of help and promote things kind of moving forward. So they've been really kind of beneficial, and we've had really regular contact with Trish, which has just been fantastic, having that support. I'm sure sometimes she sees my number and thinks, oh no, again, but it's been really fab having that. Where we're at the moment, we have around 40 trained facilitators, and it's mainly people in recovery. We have 9 SMART meetings kind of happening across the week, and that includes 2 closed meetings, which is the drug treatment and testing order kind of teams within North Ayrshire have 2 closed meetings. For us, having those meetings, it's really important, like I said, and North Ayrshire is really rural, so transport access is an absolute nightmare at times. It's really expensive as well. So some of the feedback we've been having is around having those meetings in people's local areas. It's been an absolute godsend to people, and it's been allowed us to access people who hadn't been accessing services at all. They've been coming along to the SMART meetings, so that's been great. And as Mark said, Ayrshire and Arran also includes 2 islands. We've got 2 islands that we deal with, and we're trying hard to engage with that population as well. We have expanded the network of meetings to include, we have 2 friends and family SMART meetings, which are just recently kind of up and running, and I'm really looking forward to hearing Lee and Jen speak around that after, because it's something that it's very much in the development stage, and we recognise there's a massive need for it, but we're maybe not targeting, we don't know how, maybe just getting advertising a bit more out there. We probably need a wee bit of advice around that within North. And we estimate we're engaging between about 36 and 90 participants over the week. The kind of added value is that power of peer support is just, I think we were talking about how do you quantify that and how do you gather that information, and I'm not sure how that we do, but it's just, we get a lot of that anecdotally. I've got some slides which I'll flick through after this, just some of the quotes from some of the participants and the facilitators, but just around that peer support has been fantastic. We're engaging with that hidden population, so I say there's people who are not accessing services who are coming to SMART meetings, and just around the kind of peer support, recently we've had a situation where one of the peer facilitators has left, and we've been looking to find somebody else to kind of fill that gap, and we have been told very much so that it will not be a member of staff in that meeting, that it will be, they want a peer. So it is that, people really value this kind of structure that we've got. The reduction in the burden in services. So again, like SMART meetings are happening weekly. A lot of time in services, people aren't getting an appointments maybe for 2 or 3 months at a time. So it's offering people that bit of support in the kind of meantime. And one of the most positive aspects of the peer facilitation is just observing the facilitators supporting or supporting the peers who come along to become meeting facilitators, and that's something we're trying very much to kind of promote throughout North Ayrshire. Just kind of quickly, we presented a poster presentation at the NHS National Conference in June this year, of which we won the Value and Sustainability category, and it was very much around the peer model that we are using, which was just fantastic to have that recognition, and it was fantastic for the peers as well, because I think, again, sometimes we go into our own little silos and we work, and we don't often shout about some of the stuff we're doing, and people don't always recognise the impact that maybe that's having on other people in the wider community. So that was really quite fab. I'm going to just flick through these screens. I'm not going to read all that out, don't worry. If anybody would like a copy of our slides, I think Angie was saying if you can contact, we can get them emailed out to you, because we've got a few just slides around some of the kind of quotes from facilitators and some of the participants. And that was a really, really nice kind of piece of work to do, because again, we're not sometimes the best at kind of sitting back and looking at what we're doing and evaluating that. So we gathered some of these quotes from when we were putting the poster together. So it was really nice to see. I'll just flick through. Okay, last slide. Just moving forward, as I said, Ayrshire and Arran is an island community as well. So we have the Isle of Arran, which we recognise we really have to engage a bit more with. And on the recent facilitators training, we had a resident from Arran who came on that training. So we're looking at ways we can, because it is it's about an hour's ferry from Ardrossan, just for the kind of the mainland. So it's quite a population which can be quite isolated at times. So we're just trying to think just now about how we can support the development of smart on the island. We're looking at, we have a residential unit which has just moved into North Ayrshire. And again, on the recent training, there was 2 members of staff who came along to that, and there's 2 peers who wish to go in and develop some meetings within the residential setting, which will be fab. Trish came down and did the Getting Smart training. Again, that was about 2 weeks ago. I think we've seen you for about a fortnight there. So we looked at getting community connectors, police officers, fire officers, with staff from Adult Support and Protection and Public Health there. And the idea is that they could get a snippet, learn a bit about what SMART is, and being able to promote that throughout North Ayrshire to folks using their services. We're looking at doing some work with the trans group. There was one of our peer facilitators was wanting to take that forward, and she's just done a piece of research around trans and addiction issues. We did that in conjunction with the Scottish Transgender Alliance. The results of that have just kind of been published, so we're looking at that at the moment to see how we can engage with that population, and the idea is hopefully we can set up a smart group around there. And just kind of following on what Trish was talking around was the prison. We have a prison within Ayrshire, which we're very much trying to get them on board with introducing smart meetings, because hopefully the idea is if people engage in smart in the prison, they're more likely to come out into community and link into a local meeting. So there's 2 people being trained, and those kind of discussions are ongoing just about how we can get that developed and we can support that. And that's me.